In Boston today, a former bookie testified in federal court that he paid protection money to avoid violent attacks by associates of alleged gangster James Whitey Bulger. Now, the reputed mob boss and longtime fugitive is on trial for racketeering. His 32-count indictment includes extortion, money laundering, and 19 counts of murder. The 83-year-old Bulger was captured in 2011 after 16 years in hiding. But before that, he allegedly ran South Boston's Winter Hill gang for decades. Now, gangsters like Bulger fascinate filmmakers and moviegoers alike. But how accurate are Hollywood's portrayals of these storied Goodfellas? Let's take a look at some case studies, starting with Bulger himself. James Joseph Bulger, nicknamed Whitey because of his pale blonde hair. Whitey headed up South Boston's Winter Hill gang for decades, somehow always avoiding prosecution. Warner Brothers' The Departed based its lead gangster on Bulger, played by Jack Nicholson.
Do you know who I am?
Frank Costello.
In the movie, Nicholson's character grooms a young protege, played by Matt Damon, to infiltrate the Massachusetts State Police. But in reality, Bulger's inside man was corrupt FBI agent John Connolly, who grew up in the same neighborhood. Warner Brothers' Gangster Squad cast Sean Penn as Mickey Cohen, who ruled the West Coast crime syndicate for years. The filmmakers embellished a few details. For example, in the film, Cohen's crew assassinates rival gangster Jack Dragna. But in reality, Dragna died of a heart attack. The film also depicts Cohen's downfall as an arrest for murder. But in reality, he went to prison for tax evasion. Paramount Pictures' The Untouchables told the story of the most famous gangster of them all, Al Capone, a.k.a. Scarface. In the film, Capone becomes violently angry in the final courtroom scene, even punching his attorney. In reality, Capone accepted the verdict calmly. The filmmakers did depict Capone's downfall accurately. The feds didn't nail him for any of the murders, bombings, or bootlegging he was accused of. In the end, they got him for tax evasion, just like Cohen. Speaking of which, all of these gangsters were known for bribing police officers and judges to stay out of jail. Some say Capone even had a governor on the payroll at one point. But the one power they couldn't fight, the IRS. So you might say the moral of the story is pay your taxes, but the real lesson is that Hollywood's romanticized version of the mob often obscures the reality of it. So joining me now is John Red Shea, and before serving a 12-year prison sentence, he was the top enforcer for Whitey Bulger's mob. John, good to have you with us. And John, can you tell us about the real Whitey Bulger, how he differed from that Jack Nicholson portrayal of him?
Absolutely, and thank you for having me this evening. You know, Jack Nicholson played as an actor. Whitey played it as for real. Here's a guy that was extremely explosive when he became angry. Not only to the people that he were under him, but also to the people who betrayed him. You know, he executed them with his own hands. He actually enjoyed executing them. I didn't specifically see him execute these people, but I did see his explosive temper. Yeah, he was very explosive. I have a hair-trigger temper too that I've grown out of and matured. But this guy here, you know, let's put it this way: mobsters, in most cases, would come up, shoot you, and then leave. This guy did more than that. He went beyond that. He would pull teeth out. He'd cut fingers off for identity purposes.
There's the whole code of silence.
Absolutely not. Did he ever live by the code of silence? From the beginning of him, when he went to Alcatraz, he had ratted on the guys in Illinois that he had robbed banks with. So he has never lived the code of silence, though he has been a fraud and portrayed that and preached the code of silence. I went away for prison. I could have sank him and his partner, the rifleman Fleming, could have sank them at the time, and anyone else, but I did not. I chose to honor the Irish code. Yes, he was the biggest Irish mafia boss in the United States, but there's a quote from a good comrade from Ireland, and it goes back many, many, many years. It's not those who inflict the most, it's those who endure the most. And he's inflicted more than he's ever endured in his life. Even though he's done Alcatraz time, it wasn't as much time as I did.
Okay. All right. John Shea, thanks for joining us, giving us your perspective. Appreciate the time. Check out John's story in his book, Rat Bastards, The Life and Times of South Boston's Most Honorable Gangster.